Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership. I'm Trey Griggs of Beta Consulting Group. Do me a favor, if you would, go check us out over at betaconsultinggroup.com and see how we're helping companies truly stand out by helping them build their brand through messaging, content creation, social media management, podcasting, you name it, anything to make sure that their message is getting out there and they're building their brand. Richard, hey, thanks for watching. Glad to have you on the show today. By the way, if you didn't catch Richard on the episode last week, I think it was on last Thursday. So check out last Thursday's episode with Richard Hankins and all the great guests that we have on the show each day, and come back every day at 10:30 for an episode. Also want to give a shout out to our partner, our sponsor, Tafts. They're the good guys in freight factoring. They are helping carriers have all the resources they need to stay on the road, discounts on fuels, on tires, insurance, small business loans, of course, factoring, helping them become educated and truly manage their capital to endure any market. And as we know right now, the market's crazy with diesel fuel prices hitting all-time highs at $5.71 a gallon nationally, and rates dropping. It's becoming very difficult for carriers to turn a profit. And so if you need help, Tafts will help you out with that. If you're a freight broker, you can become a referral partner and make sure that all of your carriers have all the resources they need to stay out on the road and keep moving your freight. Visit them at tafts.com or click on the link that Morgan Walter just put in the show comments, and that'll take you directly to my landing page with Tafts so they know that I sent you. Well, thank you again so much for being on the show. If you would, in the comments, tell us where you're coming from today, where you're located. I'd love to hear where everybody's at. I'm excited to be welcoming a good friend of mine who is a Texas boy now, Texas fella, down in Houston, a good friend of mine who we've had a chance to connect over the last couple of years, and just one of the best guys in the industry. We're going to talk today about how he is reigniting a new brand down at LGI. Everybody give it up for my good friend, Brandon Bay. Brandon, what's up, brother?
Hey, not much, Trey. Appreciate you having me.
How are you, man? Yeah, man, great to talk to you. It's been a while. We got a chance to catch up at some trade shows last fall, and obviously got to see you at the Lean Mastermind event as well. But certainly, man, it's been a little while since we had a chance to hang out. So how's everything going at LGI?
Yeah, things are going well. In fact, I have a saying. I say, if I was any better, or if we were any better, it'd be illegal.
Well, that's a good place to be. And, I think it's something to say about your attitude, just to make sure that you're positive all the time, appreciative and thankful for what we have. I mean, the problems that we deal with are really not that big of a problem when you think about just life and how some people on the planet have it much more difficult. And so having that great attitude is really important. Before we talk about that, though, for people who may not know who you are, give everybody the 30-second rundown of Brandon Bay and what you guys are doing at LGI.
Yeah, so I appreciate y'all watching. My name is Brandon Bay. I'm Vice President of Corporate Strategy and Marketing at LGI. LGI has been in business for 20 years. We call ourselves the 20-year startup, doing a lot of great things. We have a lot of great strategic partnerships that we built over the last couple of years to push that. Personally, prior to LGI, I was based out of Nashville for I think about 2 years. Ran two offices for some prior employers, and then previous to that, I lived in St. Louis, where started boots on the ground as carrier sales, moved into a sales role and a market director, and built out a team in that capacity. Fun fact: I also worked for Union Pacific Railroad early on in life. I have a Class A CDL, and I always like to shoot that fun fact out there.
So wait, so Class A CDL, does that mean that you you have the ability to drive a train, or what is Class? I don't know what Class A is.
Yeah, so a Class A CDL, I mean, I can drive an 18-wheeler. I'm licensed to operate.
Okay, so a truck. No, you said Union Pacific. I was thinking, man, are you a train engineer? I didn't know this.
No, never a train engineer. I actually worked in maintenance of way. So I worked, as part of rebuilding the track, fixing different areas. We worked 8 days on, 7 days off. So yeah.
Now, do you still have a valid Class A CDL? Can you drive a truck?
Yeah, nice. I mean, for any drivers out there, for anyone that has a Class A, I mean, it's very challenging to get. The tests are hard. So yeah, I've kept up with it. I renewed it. I have to get a physical every year to make sure that things are compliant there. But yeah. Now I wouldn't jump in an 18-wheeler right now. It's been a while since I've actually operated one, but
they've changed a little bit since you were last in one.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's awesome. I actually have a video coming out this week of me driving a truck at the Trans Am parking lot. Taft was kind enough to set that up. I had never driven a truck before. I got to drive around in their parking lot, which was a great experience, to see what it's like behind the wheel and what life on the road might be like for drivers out there. So really, it's interesting that the CDL license is kind of like real estate license. It's hard to get a real estate license. It's, the tests are pretty challenging. And so I got my real estate license like 6-7 years ago. And I've just kept it up ever since, even though I don't do any real estate. Like if I ever sell my house, it'll pay off, but it's just so hard to get. I figure I might as well keep it up. So,
yeah, I mean, my whole family is in the trucking industry on my dad's side. So I grew up around trucks. I remember riding with my dad many, many miles, and he'd let me sit on his lap every once in a while and hold the steering wheel. And it's just, it's a really cool feeling. It's, yeah. So when I got my Class A, I was super proud. Don't use it actively anymore, but I do keep it up.
Yeah, well, and it's just a nice fun fact, like you said, a nice talking point that you can certainly, appreciate what drivers have to go through to get their CDL out on the road, which is great. Now, something I don't like about LGI, let me just say what I don't like about LGI. You and Josh Kale both were at one point living in St. Louis, where I live now, and you don't live there anymore. Now, you had a detour one city before you got to Houston, but LGI literally stole Josh Kale, my golfing buddy, from St. Louis. I got a little beef with Steven I got to talk to him about. But you guys are doing some great work over there. Talk a little bit about, why you came to LGI and some of the fun stuff you're getting to do over there. It's, like you said, it's a 20-year startup. So even though it's been around a long time, it has a little bit of a legacy already kind of built in. You guys are having the opportunity to give it a little bit of facelift and really start almost from scratch, but with a great leader in Steven Day and a lot of resources. So talk a little bit about what you guys are doing there.
Yeah. So, for me, it was an opportunity to grow and expand, within leadership and just to learn more, about the industry, about different processes and things of that nature. So, it was a big move. The move from Nashville to Houston was a tough decision. It was very challenging on my family, moving a wife. At the time, I had a 7-month-old son and we have a farm. So, everything sounds great on paper, but the move was rough.
Just pause for a second, because moving alone is challenging. I've moved to Portland, Oregon and back, and the moving truck and all the different logistics. How the heck do you move a farm? I mean, first of all, what animals do you have on the farm?
So to answer your first question, we've got goats. So at one point we had 27. Now we've had a second child, so we have 7 that we just kind of enjoy. And
swap out the 20 goats for the child is kind of where that responsibility's had to go.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. Right now we have 1 horse. So that horse is mine. His name's Cisco. We actually adopted him about 3 years ago, and to be honest with you, it was awesome. Best horse I've ever had. My wife's horse passed on, so she hasn't got another one just yet. We have 2 dogs. We have a livestock guardian dogs. And we did have some chickens. Now we got rid of the chickens because we have little kids and tracking in, stuff from the farm, and that is not good for them. So yeah, we're kind of condensed a little bit to focus on family. We had a second kid, but we're still active. My wife will love that we're talking about this. So if you're on Instagram, go to Bay Family Farms. She posts photos of the farm. We're not out to make money, but we do buy and sell, and it's really fun. But moving a farm, I will never do it again. My wife and I moved from St. Louis to Nashville. Okay, that's great. So moving from Nashville to Houston, several trips, several trailers full of animals, and yeah, it was a great experience. I just don't want to experience it again.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I mean, I can't even imagine trying to move a family. But on Instagram, Bay Family Farms, check them out. Probably some good content on there as well. Now, content is a part of what you're doing at LGI. Talk a little bit about the marketing side of it. Have you always been into marketing? Is this a new kind of venture that you took on, or what was that like?
Well, I think I've always been in sales. And I think part of selling is marketing, right? So I think obviously they go hand in hand. But coming to LGI, and when I say a 20-year-old startup, there wasn't a social media presence that was consistent and active. The content, there was content out there, but it wasn't up to date. There wasn't anyone that was actively pushing it out. And then 2, just having the materials to present to customers and or carriers that gives just an overview of LGI. So it was the opportunity to kind of build that from scratch. And then two, there was no active, CRM. I know you and I have had a lot of conversations on CRM and different workflows and things of that nature to make people successful. So it was an opportunity for me to put one in place, build that out, add in the marketing. The LGI done a lot of, PPC and SEO work. But again, it was an opportunity to even push that further, which we've been able to do, which is really exciting. So whenever I say that, hey, I'm going to try this, or hey, I'm going to do this, I've learned a lot. Didn't really have it. I don't have a degree in it. Not something that, I ever thought, oh, this is, something that I would do, if that makes sense. But it's been a great learning experience. I got to do a lot of cool stuff through the social media, through our website. We just launched a new website. So it's been really fun so far, and we've got a long ways to go.
Well, there's a lot there to unpack. I mean, I completely agree that sales and marketing should work together. There should be a unity there, even though they have kind of different, different approaches to it. I mean, sales and marketing is really after one thing, and that is drawing attention to a brand and getting people to understand what you do. And if it's a good fit, obviously bring them on as customers. But before we go into that, Chris wants to know, how many acres do you have for all those animals?
Yeah, so we have just under 9 acres.
Under 9 acres. Okay. That's enough to ride a horse around a little bit. And is Cisco a riding horse or a grazing horse?
No, he's 22, so we don't ride him anymore, but no, he is a quarter horse. And yeah, we've ridden him a lot, but he's older. His feet aren't as good. So, he'll stay with us until he goes to horse heaven. But, but yeah, he grazes on one side of the pasture, and then we've got our goats on the other side.
Nice. So 9 acres. I can't wait to get down there soon and see the farm one of these days. It's going to be great. I know that Morgan Walter in the comments, she wants to have a farm one day as well. She already kind of does have a farm, but not on 9 acres. All right. So talking about, the journey, I think this is really fascinating because you don't have a degree in marketing. There really isn't a degree for sales. I mean, some universities are starting to do a degree in sales, which I think is great. But you don't have those degrees, but you're figuring it out. What a cool time that we live in, which you can learn. I mean, there's no reason not to learn these things if you want to learn them. Like, you're learning how to become a professional marketer, how to, really merge sales and marketing. What's been some of the best resources for learning, and how have you kind of managed, to get yourself up to par in terms of learning about different marketing strategies and SEO and all the different things that go into it?
That's a great question, and I firmly believe, and Elon Musk says this, and I'm not promoting that no one needs to go out and get a degree by any means. That's not what I'm saying. But you can find anything that you want on the internet, and you got to make sure it's a valuable resource. But then there's also books too, right? So as I've grown into leadership and progressed, I've really got into books. I don't read, so it's got to be an audio version. But I listen to books.
You don't like to read. You can read.
Fair enough. Exactly. I don't enjoy reading, but I enjoy.
There you go.
So, back and forth to work, when I work out, I try to listen and absorb as much as I can. But to be honest with you, it was learning by failure. Whenever I first jumped into, LGI's website and SEO, it was the saying that you hear at companies. Well, that's what we've always done. Okay, well, is it working, or is it not working, or what else could we do that could be better? And honestly, it was a lot of just, whether it's on LinkedIn Learning, figuring out, well, hey, this is what other companies are doing, using your network to get advice, to ask questions. There is a lot of people out there, not only in our industry, but every industry, that's willing to have a conversation, that's willing to talk to you and give their knowledge, but you have to ask. So learning it was, and still, I'm not perfect. I have a lot to learn, but I think I try to learn every day, be open-minded on different strategies and different campaigns that we're trying to push out. And, we're measuring the results, and I think it's been cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the truth is, in the information age, there's never been an easier time to learn different skills, to learn different knowledge. And I think that, the value of a college education is drastically changing, because you can learn the content anywhere now. And you can work for a company and learn the intangibles, like being responsible, learning to wake up, manage your schedule, manage money. You can learn that, just having a job and maybe having some mentors or parents that help you along the way. What I think the value of college is going to become, and it always has been this way, but I think this is really one of the few real benefits of college is the networking. Because now you're on a campus with 10,000 people, man. If you network that, you can have a really good network before you ever leave campus. And of course, there are some disciplines that really do require training, like if you want to be a doctor or a surgeon, if you want to be, in some of those capacities where you really want them to have formal training, that actually makes sense. But if you're wanting to be in business, or you're wanting to be a marketer, or you're wanting to be in sales, man, I think the experience that you're getting right now is probably more valuable than a 4-year degree that you would get at a university, and you're making money while you're doing it. So I think the resources make it much, much easier for people to learn. There's really no excuse not to. So I'm with you. Like, college to me is more of a reevaluation. Like, do we really want to do this? Do we really want to pay this money to go do this? Or are there alternative methods to do it? And right now, I think there's a lot of alternative methods to learning and growing individually that you just don't need anymore as much as maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it's all about the person too. Like, if you have the drive and the want, you can learn anything. People can literally do anything they want. We live in the United States of America. You can literally learn and do, and I just repeated myself, but yes, I believe that you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it and you're willing to explore, willing to ask questions. And I agree with you on your networking point, Trey. I mean, you have to network, you have to get out there and talk. You have to have conversations. You have to listen to what other people are doing. You have to build on those relationships too. Even after COVID broke, Lean Mastermind, I got to know a lot of people that I had been on podcasts with, in the past, but then I met a lot of other great people that, not even doing business with, but that were on LinkedIn or we're shooting messages here or there. And, I firmly believe if you have a strong network and you have a great group of people around you, that, you'll learn anything that you want.
Yeah, there's really no substitute for having a vast network. I mean, it's not about what you know. It really is about who you know. The what you know is important, but the who you know is paramount. The who you know gets you in the doors and changes the game in many ways, and that's really valuable. So, talk for a minute about you're working with Stephen Day. He's the owner of LGI, and you're getting to work with our good friend Josh Kale, your best friend. Getting to work with that. What's that dynamic like? Getting to work with people that you also just really enjoy hanging out with on the weekends, or appreciate them for who they are as people and as leaders. How has that really impacted your career in this move to LGI?
I mean, that was a huge factor, to be honest with you. Josh and I worked together in a previous role for a long time, and we were friends outside of that. I mean, Josh was in my wedding. But one thing that's very very neat.
You didn't pay him for that, did you? You didn't pay him for that. Yeah.
Not very much.
Okay, good. All right, good.
But one thing that's unique about Josh and I is that we're very good at separating business from personal. We can have a good discussion inside of work, and then outside of work, we drop it and we move forward. But getting to come to a place where people care, you have the same vision, you have the same mindset, you guys are all pushing to do the same thing. It's a great feeling. It's when you say come in and you're building a 20-year-old startup, and you think, oh yeah, well, all the pieces are there, like this isn't going to be that bad, but it's definitely been challenging. Not only with COVID and different things of that nature, but growth, processes, our TMS technologies that are coming out, incorporating them. How do you grow? How do you implement the right technology? What are we putting out on social media to get brand awareness? What are we doing to be able to know who we are? And it sounds great on paper, but it's definitely been challenging. But getting to work with Josh and Stephen both is awesome. I think anytime you find a career or job that you love, being able to come in with people that you care and love about too, that goes a long ways.
We're seeing a lot of people right now in the market, unfortunately, being laid off. We see a lot of companies, especially VC-backed companies, who are, thinking about cash. They're thinking about valuations and a lot of other things, but they seem to be, letting people go. For those people out there that are now looking for work, I think one of the most critical things that anybody can do when they're in a position of looking for new opportunity is to find those leaders that they want to work for. And that's, to me, more important than the job you're going to do. I mean, I think about this all the time. I really do believe I'd rather dig ditches with somebody that inspires me, that encourages me, that's a great leader that I can learn from. I think I would enjoy that more, even though the work is not what I want to do, than to have my dream job, quote unquote, but not be with a leader that I really want to follow or respect, or I feel like is doing a good job. So, when I think about these people that have been laid off and they kind of feel like they've gotten burned a little bit, my number one thing would be to find the leader that you want to work with. And I think that you would agree with that. I mean, finding the right people to work with, it trumps, I think, the day-to-day job that you get to do. So talk a little bit about the value of leadership and creating that culture, and especially for these people who are looking for work now.
Yeah, well, the saying, and I'm sure you've heard it, Trey, but you become a product of the three people you surround yourself with the most. So if you can find someone that is great leadership, and surround yourself with them and two other people, I'm a firm believer in that statement. I mean, ask questions, see what they're doing, but just know that find someone that's going to take care of you and that cares about you as a person as well. It's unfortunate that there are some VC and some companies, even outside of transportation, that are laying people off right now. But yeah, I think it's very important, not only from leadership, from a company standpoint, to find people that love and care about you as people. Now, again, business is business. Sometimes business decisions have to be made, but at the same time, like there's a line there, right? So yeah, I think finding the right people to work with is very crucial. Whenever we were leaving Nashville, my wife told me a statement, and it still gives me goosebumps. And she's like, I don't care if you have to work at McDonald's in Alaska. As long as you get to be a husband and a father, I don't care where we're at. Because again, Houston was a huge move, right? So I think that's important as well. So not only finding a good leader to work with, but finding a company that does value family, right? That does value you as a person. I think that's super important.
Yeah, I would say that value is what you value in a way, because some people may not have family, and that may not be necessarily a driver, but certainly what they value, right? And I think great leaders across the board, one of the common denominators that I've seen is that they value the individual, which means they value what that person values. So if that person values a hobby, then they're going to take interest in that hobby. If that person values travel, then they're going to try to find a way to allow that person to travel more, do those types of things. If it's family, they're going to try to give them more time to make sure they don't miss a game. One thing that I love about the coach at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, his name is blanking for me right now, Coach Arian. Yeah, okay. I don't know his first name. I can't think of his name. But anyways, Bruce. That's right. He would say to his coaches, "You never miss one of your kids' games, and if you do, I'm firing you." Like that level of commitment to those values and what's important, to say, if you miss your kid's game because of this, I'm firing you. That's how important it is. Like, it takes a special leader to have that type of perspective. And in my opinion, it's no fluke that people like that often win. People like that often find a way to win, because that galvanizes people to want to do their very best for somebody like that who values what they value. And to me, that's what leadership's all about.
I agree 100%. And we're very fortunate. Everyone at LGI, we preach that and we practice it, whether you have family or you have something going on. I think we're very open and communicative to do what you want to do. In fact, I'm pretty proud. I'm a father of two now, but 2 kids under 2. But I got my first Donuts with Dad tomorrow with my son. So super excited about that, just to throw it out there. And obviously, even talking to Steven, hey, I'm gonna be in a little bit late, Donuts with Dad. And he's like, why are you even asking? Just, you know what I mean? So it's those things, Trey, just like you said, find a company that values that, and that the important things in life.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, do you have 2 sons or a son and a daughter?
I have a son and a daughter. Yep. They're 16 months apart. 16
months. So are you getting any sleep at all?
You know what? I will tell you that my wife, and she's an amazing mother. She's awesome, but she's very, very type A scheduled. Routine like no other. My kids go down at 7:30 and they wake up at 6:30 every morning. Well, sometimes 5, sometimes 4, but she did sleep training. She had them sleeping throughout the night by around 9 weeks.
Wow. Well,
I will tell you. My wife's
sounds
amazing.
Like she needs to write a book, because we were not quite as lucky. Our first one, we really struggled with it. We didn't know what we were doing. Of course, parents, new parents don't know what you're doing.
We didn't trust me.
But our second one went down much better. But I think just because we were so exhausted, we didn't care if she was crying or not. We're like, we just got to go to bed. We're so tired.
Trey, so, we mess up at being parents every day. And even with our first son, when my wife's like, hey, I read this book, I'm going to try sleep training. Her mother, her family, our family's like, oh, you're crazy. You can't do that. You can't get a kid on a routine. And my wife's like, hold my beer and watch this.
Well, we're going to hold my beer. Let's see what we can do. Well, kudos to your wife for doing that. I mean, that's huge. And it's good for the kids too, to be on the schedule and to do that. Some of us parents just don't figure it out quite as much. We read a lot of books too, but I just don't think that we had the discipline and the wherewithal to kind of stick to it till it worked out. But that's like everything in life. A lot of times you just learn as you go. I think that's another thing about leadership. I think that leaders feel like they have to have it all figured out to be a leader. And the truth is you learn a lot in leadership, and we're all kind of figuring this out. What does this actually look like? How do you lead people? You can read a lot of books and you can learn, but everybody's different. It's like our kids, and you'll figure this out if you haven't already. I've got 2 kids that are 22 months apart, and they could not be more different. And we have to parent them differently. We have to discipline them differently. They're so unique, and we're just figuring out as we go along. We're just trying to figure it out. And I think that leaders that embrace that, they actually get more respect from people than trying to be a know-it-all, trying to feel like they have to have all the answers all the time. That's just not real. That's not real life, in my opinion. So I think leaders get a lot of respect for that.
No, and I agree 100%. I always tell anyone on my team, and I'm very forthcoming. Hey, I'm very transparent. I don't know this, but we'll figure it out. Or hey, I know the issue that you're having. I don't know how we're going to fix it, but we're going to work on it together. I think transparency and empathy, and then I always say, like, my job's to remove roadblocks. My job's not to be a boss or to tell you what to do. My job is to remove those roadblocks and push you to be better.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. I love the attitude that you guys have towards leadership. Again, Steven's a phenomenal leader, and I think it always starts at the top. He brings in people that resonate with him and his style, and you and Josh have fit that to the bill. And your team is a reflection of that, which is great. We're coming up on time here real quick. I want to ask you 2 more questions. You guys have partnered with Lean Solutions. You've partnered with some other companies to help grow LGI in this new phase. What's been the value of really finding great, high quality partners that can help you grow your business?
I mean, it's very important. When I talk about strategic partnerships, it's, finding those partners that fit within your model. And there's, Lean Solutions, we partner with green screens. Throughout these different processes of finding these partners, you talk to a lot of different vendors, and you have to find the one that fits you best. But we've been very fortunate to find great companies that are helping us succeed, pushing us to be able to grow the right way, to have technologies that enable us to be more efficient. So yeah, it's super important. Again, that goes back to networking and relationships as well. Finding those people that you want to do business with, and then enabling them to help you.
Yeah, and I think the people that are running those companies, it's important to know who they are, and do you believe in them as much as what they're offering, their product. Because at the end of the day, you're jumping in bed with a partner to grow your business. So like over at Green Screens, Don and Kevin, like, they're great people. So as you think about a partnership like that, it's just good to know who is behind the service, who's behind the product as well. I think that's just as significant in many ways as the product itself, from a leadership standpoint.
They say people don't do business with companies; they do business with people, right?
100%. Yeah.
So finding that person and finding the right vision that you want to work towards to grow together is super important.
At the end of the day, it's all a people business. It always is.
It is.
Now, McLeod's one of your partners as well. Are you guys going to be going to the McLeod conference this year?
100%. Yeah, we'll be at the McLeod conference. That's in Nashville. I'm super excited to get back there. I was one of the co-founders of the Nashville Transportation Club, so I think we're going to put together some type of sponsorship to be able to hang out and see some of those folks, and super excited.
Very cool.
To get back to Nashville too.
I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a chance to go this year. I got to go last year. McLeod always puts on a great conference, so I'm looking forward to that. But having great partners just makes a ton of difference, and they're one of them for sure. Well, listen, we're at 30 minutes almost. I mean, it's crazy. This gets by so fast.
I keep talking to you, Trey.
I know, just absolutely flies by. But it's always good to chat with you. I hope you'll come back and join us on the show sometime.
Hey, I would love the opportunity anytime, Trey. Enjoyed talking to you, catching up, and anything you need, I'm here.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. It'd be great to have you back on. We could talk about a lot more than just this, and talk more about the farm and whatever else we got to play some golf. But for those of you who don't know, by the way, Brandon's about 6'7", 6'8". So if you saw us in person, it would look much more different, I guess, or hilarious than it is right now. Maybe we'll do a live show at McLeod if we get a chance to do that. That'd be fun. We can go there and do that. And everybody who's watching, thanks for being a part of the show today and telling us where you're coming from and engaging with Brandon and I on the show. Make sure you come back tomorrow for episode 78 with my good friend Brian Aubuchon of Ardor Express. We're going to talk about what he's building over there right here in St. Louis. He's a St. Louis guy. He's my golfing buddy here in St. Louis and a Blues fan.
Go Cardinals.
And go Cardinals. That's right. He's a Cardinals fan as well. So we'll be back tomorrow for another episode of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, leadership, powered by Beta Consulting Group. And thanks once again to our sponsor, TAS, for supporting what we're doing here. We appreciate that. Remember to click on the link that Morgan put in the comments today to go directly to my landing page on TAS and get started working with them. And again, thanks to them for all their support. All right, Brandon, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. Everybody else have a